In January 1996, something happened in a small Brazilian town that still refuses to fade away. No blurry desert footage, no anonymous internet leaks. This involved police officers, firefighters, hospital staff, and multiple civilian witnesses. And the strangest part, the Brazilian military moved fast to fast. Officially, nothing unusual happened in Varginha. Unofficially, a lot of people still aren't buying that story. Varginha is a quiet agricultural town in the state of Minas Gerais. Not exactly the kind of place you expect a UFO case to explode. But on January 20th, 3 young women were walking through a vacant lot when they saw something crouch near a wall. At first, they thought it was a sick or injured man. Then they looked closer. The creature they described was about 4 feet tall, with oily brown skin, large red eyes, and a head that seemed too big for its body. It appeared weak, frightened, and possibly hurt. The girls ran home in panic, telling their families they had seen a devil. But they weren't laughing. They were shaken. Word spread quickly. Soon, other residents reported strange activity. Some claimed they saw unusual creatures moving through fields. Others reported military trucks driving through town in the middle of the night. According to multiple accounts, members of the Brazilian military and local police were seen capturing something alive. One story in particular stands out. A military police officer allegedly picked up a creature with his bare hands and transported it to a hospital. Not long after, that same officer reportedly died from a sudden infection doctors couldn't clearly explain. Officials denied any connection. But in small towns, rumors don't just disappear. Hospitals in the area became part of the mystery. Staff later claimed unusual security measures were suddenly put in place. Certain floors were restricted. Armed personnel were present. Some witnesses said a non-human body was brought in for examination before being transferred to another facility. The Brazilian military later stated that the entire incident was based on confusion and imagination. They claimed the girls had seen a homeless man with physical deformities. Case closed. Except at WASN single quotes T. The timeline doesn't sit right with many researchers. Reports surfaced of a UFO crashing earlier that month near Varginha. Farmers claimed to see strange debris. Firefighters were allegedly called to recover unidentified material. Around the same time, U.S. military aircraft were reportedly seen at a nearby airport. That detail alone fueled massive speculation. Why would American planes be involved in a small-town Brazilian incident? In the years that followed, journalists and investigators dug deeper. Several witnesses stuck to their stories, even under pressure. Some military personnel allegedly admitted off the record that something unusual had happened. But no official documentation confirmed extraterrestrial involvement. No alien bodies were ever publicly revealed. Just a wall of denials and missing pieces. What makes the Varginha case different from typical UFO stories is the number of independent witnesses. This wasn't one person claiming to see lights in the sky. It was multiple civilians, police officers, medical workers, and local officials all connected to the same timeline. Skeptics argue that mass hysteria and rumor amplified a simple misunderstanding. Believers argue that the speed and secrecy of the military response suggests a cover-up. And then there's the psychological factor. The 3 girls who first saw the creature never changed their story. Decades later, they still describe the same being with the same details. No dramatic additions, no Hollywood exaggerations. Just fear, raw fear. They insist it wasn't a man. It wasn't a trick of the light. It was something else. The Brazilian government eventually released a statement saying the incident involved nothing more than misunderstandings and exaggerated stories. But they also admitted that unusual military movements had occurred in the region during that time. That partial acknowledgement only added fuel to the fire. If nothing happened, why mobilize troops? In the age before smartphones and viral social media, information traveled slower. But that may have actually made this case more credible. There were no influencers chasing clout, no viral TikToks, just local witnesses trying to make sense of something they couldn't explain. The lack of clear evidence cuts both ways. There's no definitive proof of aliens, but there's also no airtight explanation that satisfies everyone. Nearly 30 years later, The Varginha UFO incident remains one of the most debated cases in South American history. Documentaries have been made, researchers continue interviewing witnesses, and every few years, new claims surface suggesting that physical evidence exists somewhere. Locked away. So what really happened in Varginha? Was it mass panic triggered by coincidence? A classified military operation unrelated to aliens? Or something far stranger? The truth sits somewhere between official denial and persistent testimony. And that's what keeps this story alive. Not flashing lights in the sky, not wild conspiracy theories, but ordinary people who insist they saw something that didn't belong here. Maybe they were mistaken, maybe they weren't, but if even a fraction of their story is true, then January 1996 wasn't just another quiet month in a small Brazilian town, that it was first contact.